Hello students, today's agenda is to check homework. We'll be reviewing sine, cosine, and tangent, and you will be able to work on 10.13. Today, students will be able to solve sine, cosine, tangent word problems. And before we start, I just want to review trigonometric ratio. For example, for sine of theta, we always have to look at opposite over hypotenuse. The cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent of theta is opposite over adjacent. And what that means is that if we had a triangle that has one 90-degree angle, and it doesn't matter which angle we're looking at, but opposite of that angle will always be straight across, okay? Straight across from that angle. That's going to be your opposite. Now, if we were talking about this angle, then straight across will be right here, okay? So you have to see which angle they're talking about. In this case, we're referring to this angle down here. The other side that we need to know is adjacent. The hypotenuse will always be the longest, okay? Hypotenuse, always the longest. And that means that whatever is left, it's the adjacent angle. Okay? And for this angle, opposite will be straight across, so it will be this one. Hypotenuse will be the same because it's the longest, always the longest. So hypotenuse will be, for both of these angles, the same one. And adjacent will be the other right here. Okay, so hopefully I didn't confuse you with that. Very important, opposite, always straight across. Hypotenuse the longest, so it's easier to identify adjacent by leaving it until the end. So it says you're flying a kite with a 60-degree angle to the ground. The string is 12 meters long. How high is the kite? So if we draw a kite here, the string is 12 meters long. And you're flying it here with the ground, it creates a 60-degree angle. Then how high is this kite? Okay, so that's what we're looking for. How high is the kite? So if you notice, we have to look at the information that they're giving us. Okay, so from this angle, x is the opposite. Okay, it's straight across. Opposite, and we are given also the hypotenuse. So we're going to use opposite hypotenuse from SOHCAHTOA. SOHCAHTOA, it's going to be sine. Sine of theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. Sine of theta is the degree, the degrees, which is 60, and the opposite will be x. The hypotenuse is 12. Then in here, you can either simplify this first and then cancel the 12, or you can first cancel the 12 and then multiply. Okay, so if we're dividing by 12, we multiply by 12 on both sides. This cancels, and so in here, we're going to multiply with this calculator. It's starting with a 60. We press sine times 12 equals, and the height is 10 point. I'm going to round it to the tenths, which will give us 10.4. Okay, if the next one is a 5 or more, then this goes 1 up. But if this is 4 or less, then it stays as 3. In this case, it's a 9, so it goes up. Okay, so 10.4 meters. So with that calculator, again, what you're going to do is put 60. Then you put sine. Then you press times. Then 12 and equal. But there are other calculators which are a little bit different. And so for this one, you're going to press the way it is, just the way it is. So 12 times times sine. And when you press sine, it opens a parenthesis right here. 60. You have to close the parenthesis and then press equal. So let's try it. 12 times sine 60. Close the parenthesis and then equal. Okay, get 10.39, which rounds to 10.4. So check which calculator you have. If you got this answer with following this path on your calculator, then only write that one on your notes, or circle it if you want to have both in case you get another calculator in the future. If this is the one that works, then circle that one. Okay. For the next one, it says you are 20 feet from a tree. You look up 45 degrees to look at a bird's nest. How far are you from the bird nest? So you're down here and there is a tree, and it says that you are 20 feet from the tree. So this 20 feet refers from your distance to the tree. Okay. You look up 45 degrees to a nest. So 45 degrees. And how far are you from the bird nest? So basically it's this distance that we're looking for. So if we look at that, we don't have any variable or any measurement in here, which is the straight across, meaning the opposite. That means that we don't need to use anything with opposite. That means no sine. Tangent has the opposite, so it's not tangent either. That means that you're going to be using cosine of theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. So why? Because this is the adjacent and the hypotenuse is always the longest side. Okay, so cosine of theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Cosine of the theta is your degrees. Adjacent, add. Adjacent, not add, is 20 feet. Then you're dividing by x. We learned back that you can switch those and you will get the answer of x equals 20 divided by cosine of 45 degrees. Okay, and so x equals, let's use this one, 20 divided by cosine of 45. So with this one, you just follow the way it is. 20 divided by cosine of 45 equals, and the answer is 28.3 feet. We round up because if this is a 5 or more, this gives 1 to the 10th. I think I just want to give an explanation. We saw it before, but in case you don't remember or you didn't see the other video, how do we get from here to here? 45 equals 20 divided by x. We cancel by multiplying the x, and we get 20 equals x times cosine of 45. But we still don't have the x by itself. We need to have that isolated. So we're going to divide by cosine of 45. Divide by cosine of 45. These cancel, and now you have x by itself, okay, which is 20 divided by cosine of 45. That's how we got to that. We're just skipping these steps, but if you need to show that work, go ahead and do that. You just divide this and that'll give you the answer. Again, if you notice, the cosine of 45 is under the 20 and the x got isolated on the left side. That's how you just switch them and it's the same. Last example, it says you are 40 feet from the base of a building and you look up 50 degrees to the top. How tall is the building? And you can draw your building on the left or the right, and you draw the angle this way or this way. It doesn't really matter. Let me draw it on this side since we've been doing it, the drawing on the right. Okay, you have a building and you're looking up at it 50 degree angle. Okay, and it's also telling us that you're 40 feet from the base of the building. Okay, so you're 40 feet away from there. Okay, and now it's asking how tall is the building. So what do we have here? They're asking for the height of the building, which we'll put as x. That means that we have a variable on the opposite side, and we have adjacent. Nothing on the hypotenuse, so we're not going to use the hypotenuse, so not sine and not cosine. But we're going to use opposite and adjacent. Opposite, adjacent, that's tangent. So tangent of theta is equals to opposite over adjacent. And tangent of theta is 50 degrees. The opposite is x. The adjacent is 40. Since we have a number in the denominator, we can just cancel by multiplying. The other one, we had x on the denominator, and that's why we couldn't do that. We had to switch them, okay? But when we have a number, we just multiply. That cancels, and x is equals to, now let's use this one. So again, this is backwards. 50, first you put the degrees, then the ratio, the trigonometric ratio, then times 40, equal. So it's going to be 47.67. The 7 is greater, 5 or greater, so that means that you add one more, so it's 47.7 feet. Okay, and that's how tall this building is. With this, we end our lesson. Now you're able to do 10.13, but before you do that, if you can give us a thumbs up, subscribe, look at the other videos in this unit, and this is the next video. But don't forget to have fun.